Welcome to 30 Talk with Chad and friends. Log in each week for topics covering social, economic, and entertainment. It's time to talk 30.
So, all right, good evening, everybody. Good evening. And for those of you, this is your first time, no matter where you're at on whatever platform you're at, whether you're on Twitch, Facebook, or YouTube, welcome to 30 Talk. This is our third or fourth, I think our fourth episode covering home ownership and what it takes to own a home, the steps you have to go through. So today we're going to do it. We're going to talk about some topics that I know a lot of you guys would like to talk about. I've had a lot of questions about this over the last month or so. And I've always, hearing people talking about bankruptcies, short sales. And for those of you that this is your first week, last week we talked about mortgages and what's involved in a mortgage and how does that work and, stuff like that. So what we're going to do today, we're going to start with a short video. And then we're gonna kind of get into the video because it's Thanksgiving, right? We're getting ready for Thanksgiving in a few days for those of you that celebrate Thanksgiving, right? Or Indigenous Peoples Day, if some of you know it on the calendar. So we're getting ready to get ready for that holiday. So what we're gonna do, I want you guys to watch a short video, and I might cut it a little early. So we can get to my guest. I want to thank my guest today, Vernisa Cannon, and you guys know her. She's our real estate guru extraordinaire. So we're going to have her in just 1 second. So welcome to 30 Talk. Watch this short video and then we're going to get right back. Okay.
Video 2. Who is involved with mortgage servicing? This video about the various roles in the mortgage servicing business is the second of 3 in our series on the fundamentals of mortgage servicing, a product of the Urban Institute's Mortgage Servicing Collaborative. For an overview of the servicing industry, watch video 1. What is mortgage servicing? Mortgage servicers work with 4 types of loans. There are GSE loans that are backed by the government-sponsored enterprises, or GSEs, namely Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, which are the most common types of loans today. Another type of loan is what we call government loans. These loans are insured by the Federal Housing Administration, the Department of Veterans Affairs, and the U.S. Department of Agriculture. There are also loans that private lenders keep on their balance sheets called portfolio loans, and loans that are purchased by private investors as securities, which are called private label securities or PLS loans. PLS loans are a very tiny portion of the market today, though they were a much more significant portion before the housing crisis. And portfolio loans resemble GSE loans in credit quality. So, for the purposes of this video series, we're going to focus on government and GSE loans as they constitute the bulk of today's mortgage loans. In addition to the homeowner and the servicer, the mortgage servicing industry has 5 other key actors: lenders, insurers, guarantors, investors, and regulators. Each of these 5 parties makes critical decisions that determine how a loan is serviced. First, there is the lender. After the loan is closed, the lender decides who services the mortgage. Some lenders will service their own loans. Others will sell servicing rights to another party. Homeowners do not get to select who services their mortgage after they close the loan. Nor do they have a say if the loan is transferred and the loan servicer changes for any reason. Loan transfers may cause confusion and delays in recording homeowners' payments. Next, there are the federal insurers and guarantors. Often the most important set of players are the federal insurers and the guarantors. Insurers and guarantors differ slightly, but their general role is the same: to offer protection that the ultimate owners of the loans, also called the investors, will be paid, even if a homeowner does not make the monthly mortgage payment. 2 federal agencies, the Federal Housing Administration and the Department of Veterans Affairs, insure nearly 1/4 or 24% of new mortgages. 2 government-sponsored enterprises, Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, guarantee nearly half, 46%. A third federal agency, the U.S. Department of Agriculture, also insures a small portion. Additionally, 6 private mortgage insurers provide coverage on some loans guaranteed by Fannie and Freddie to help reduce GSE losses. Then there is the investor. The investor is the person or entity that owns the loan. Sometimes the investor is the original lender who keeps the loan on its balance sheet. Most of the time, however, the investor owns a mortgage-backed security, which is a bundle of loans that have been packaged and sold as an investment product. These securities are then guaranteed by the GSEs or by Ginnie Mae, who securitizes government loans insured by the FHA, USDA, and VA. Whether or not a loan is put in a mortgage-backed security matters because once the mortgages are bundled together in a security, they almost follow the servicing guidelines for that security. These guidelines may limit the servicer's flexibility to offer certain types of assistance to homeowners. Finally, there are the regulators. State and federal regulators oversee different aspects of the mortgage finance system to ensure that the servicers comply with consumer protection laws and regulations, and to ensure that the market players are financially stable. Several state and federal regulators play oversight roles in the mortgage market. Some watch out for consumer interests. Others oversee specific financial institutions, insurers, or guarantors. The investors, the insurers, the guarantors, and the regulators all make rules for how servicers work with homeowners. The servicers are then responsible for understanding and following all these rules and for helping homeowners when they run into trouble paying their mortgages. To learn more,
Right. So, folks, ladies and gentlemen, we're gonna kind of get ready to get into the topic, but we have our real estate extraordinaire here, Vanessa Cannon. Vanessa from VCSellHomes.com. Vanessa,
Hi.
welcome.
Thank you.
All right, we're hearing you clearly. Are you hearing me clearly?
Yes. Are you hearing me?
I'm hearing you perfectly clear. All right.
Oh,
So good evening and happy almost Thanksgiving. So let's kind of get into it today, right? So we talked that video. So that video kind of wraps up some of the stuff we were talking about last week, right?
it did, and it was actually we needed to kind of give it just a little more time because then it discussed a little bit more about going into foreclosure and that process. So we kind of missed that.
Okay.
But you know, a lot of times when I meet some buyers, their first, comments and questions to me are, "Hey, I'm looking to buy a foreclosure." So let's talk about what a foreclosure is first. Basically, a foreclosure is really just a legal process that the lender is attempting to recover the amount that is owed on the home that the homeowners are behind. So
Okay. So say that one more. Say that one more time.
So it is the legal process. The lender is into what they're doing is they're attempting to recover the amount that the homeowner owes, what they're behind. So just like you get behind in your rent, some people get behind in their homes because certain things happen. They lose their job, medical, whatever the case may be. Foreclosure is the lender trying to recover those funds. So out here in New York, most homeowners will be sent a liens pendens, and that's just to let you know that you are in the foreclosure process.
Okay, so that's basically what a foreclosure is. When someone says, "I'm looking to get I'm looking to buy a foreclosure home," and is there a benefit of buying, like trying to buy I guess you would say it's a foreclosed home, or how would you? Is there a benefit to buying a foreclosure home or foreclosed home?
Well, when a home is in foreclosure, there are different options for the homeowner. Modification, some are just too far behind, and some of the homeowners elect to do a short sale. And a short sale is they're asking the lender to take less than what is owed on the property. And so in most cases, in other states, I would say that it may be a little bit easier to obtain a foreclosure. Here, it's not that easy. It's not a situation.
When you say here
in New York.
Okay, all right. Right. Because we have people in Florida, in Atlanta, and right. So
in New
here
York,
in New York, it's not as easy. You're saying it's not as easy to get a home.
It's not as easy to obtain. I've seen people who might be a family member, and the loan is assumable, and they were able to assume the loan and get it refinanced, or it was a friend that told them, "Hey, I'm in trouble," and they went to the servicer and they kind of worked that out in order for the other individual to go ahead and assume the loan. But in most cases, when you look on Zillow and Trulia and all these other sites and you see foreclosure under the home, 9 times out of 10, the home is at this moment not obtainable to the end user buyer. So
then who would it be available to? I mean, is that so?
It's a process.
Yeah, that's
it's a process, and I don't want to say how long the process is, because it varies, but I've seen homes that have been in foreclosure for 7 to 8 years and more. And so it just depends on the servicer, what the homeowner attempted to do or what they were trying to do at the time. So it's not a really, you're in foreclosure and we're going to take your home. They do give you the opportunity to rectify the situation. But in the event that we're so far behind in our payments, then the next steps would be a short sale.
and what is a short sale exactly?
Again, a short sale is when the homeowner is asking the lender to take less for the house. I don't know why I just lost my thought, but it's less than what they owe on the house.
Got you. All right. So it would it be beneficial for me to to buy a house and how do I find a house I guess, is there a listing of short sale homes, or would a real estate agent know how to go about getting a short sale home? I mean,
Yes.
like how does that process work?
So again, this is another scenario that I've had people come and ask me, do you have any short sales? I would like to purchase a short sale.
Because they've heard about it, but really don't know the
exactly. So a short sale is a process, again, that takes anywhere. It could take 1 to 3 years, 1 to 3 months, 6 months. And that's because, they have to approve. And when I say they, the lender, the investor behind the loan, it could be FHA, it could be Freddie Mac, whoever the investor is, and whatever guidelines that was on the final draft of that agreement that the homeowner has signed, depends. It just really depends. And now within the years, they've put on a limit as whether or not they'll grant your short sale. It's been it's kind of been open, but I would say in the last 3 years they've been getting really strict with that. So if your loan is past due so many 100 days, you may not even be able to apply for a short sale. But going back to people asking, can they purchase a short sale? It's almost nearly impossible here in New York to do that. And I'm gonna tell you when you can purchase a short sale in a little bit, but so it kind of goes back and forth. It's a lot of paperwork, so it's not a quick process. But people go, well, why is it advertised? Why do I see that it's a short sale? Well, in the short sale process, we are required, people who work short sales, and I work short sales also, we have to advertise it. The bank wants it advertised. They want to see what response, or at least showing that we've made attempts to sell the home. So when people look, and I get a lot of calls about short sales too, because this is where you see prices on Zillow, 250, 300.
Right.
Those are what it's our opinion based on the condition of the home, what needs to be done. It factors into a lot. So those prices are not approved yet. It's just an idea of what we think the house should sell for based on the condition in the current market in comparison to the other homes similar.
Okay. So that's usually like she said, for those of you that are just tuning in for the first time, welcome to 30 Talk. This is this series that we've been talking about so far has been about the home buying process. How do you own a home? How do you own your first home? How do you purchase your second home? How do you refinance the current home to get yourself in a better mortgage, right? Something that's more affordable, being that the rates are so low, right? And one of the things one of the questions, and I know we're gonna touch, because you had a topic here. What is REO? So we're gonna talk about that in 1 second. But I just also kind of want to go back to last week's and kind of tie everything in, because we're not gonna keep repeating, the information, but I kind of want to drive some of the things home to people so that they kind of understand, like, why we're doing this series that we're doing, and why home ownership is so important, right? So one of the things someone asked, is it a good time to buy a home? That's like a question that we get all the time. And I kind of want to go back to something that I kind of glanced over real quickly last time. And I gave the information there about Black home ownership and buyer facts, right? Things that you need to know as a future owner, right? Because my hope is that everyone that's listening right now becomes a homeowner. And one of the things that struck me, and I keep saying it from when you told me, the credit score that they need, right? And the fact that your debt to income ratio and all these other things, and the reason to purchase a home, which, as you guys can see on the screen here, the main reason, right, by African Americans, Black African Americans, Caribbean Americans, however you want to put it, we're all Black, right? Black/Afro American. The main reason is the desire to own a home was their desire to actually own a home. It's not that they wanted a larger home. Only 8% wanted that larger home, right? Only 7% did it because of change in family situation, like marriage or birth of a child, right? So, in your opinion, I mean, being in this field, I mean, you've seen different markets. Is this a good time for someone that's out there trying to purchase a home? Can you just explain to them once again why this, like Thanksgiving, everybody's gathering in their homes? Why is this a good time now to be purchasing a home?
So that we can keep consistent with the topic, I would like to answer that question after, because we still have more to do in short sales.
Okay.
Into REO, but that is a good question, and I think it would be a good question to definitely answer once we finish the current topic.
Okay.
So people can get the full information, and I don't want them to get lost in the process of just understanding short sales, because a lot of people want to purchase those.
Okay.
So going back, so when you are looking at a short sale here in New York, like I stated, it does take a very long time to get approved. It could be a year. Sometimes it could be 3 months. But in my experience, it does take, I would say, about a year to get the home approved. So what I tell homeowners, or not homeowners, but the buyers who are looking at these homes, that they're not actually approved at the moment. And in New York, what I found is that a lot of the lenders really like to take the cash deals, and that's when the investors come in. So most times the short sales are really out of their, out of regular buyers' reach. It's out of my reach.
Because they're looking because they're looking for that cash. They're
looking for that cash. And when I say cash, I'm like, it's $350K, 400K, 450. It has to be a number that's gonna at least make a profit for that investor, because it is a business. But if it is not a number that works for them, guess what? It goes back onto the market as an REO, which means it's real estate owned, it's bank owned. The lender owns that home. And so what the lender will do is they will put the home on the market, what the current value is, a couple of things. And you can, a couple of things with that, you can now look at the home, preview it. You can use an FHA loan for the home, but the process is also a little long also. And some people don't understand that process or get a little frustrated. So it's not the quick sale as it would be a direct, negotiation with the seller who's selling their property that they live in. So you're dealing with the bank. And of course, the bank has a number and they're going to try to get the most for their number. So it's not you submit an offer and then they're going to get back to you. It does take a it could take a couple of days, it could take a couple of weeks, but it's a online process. It's not really anyone to contact. There are agents who list REOs, but in my experience calling them, they would say the same thing. I'm not really sure, but I know they have the offers. I'm not sure when they're going to get back to the individuals. Another thing with an REO inspection, people, I always tell people get an inspection, but an inspection in an REO, this is for your knowledge only. You still want to get it because you know what you're getting into, but the bank is not going to repair anything. You're buying the home exactly as you see it.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's REOs. You have a few that do come on the market. They don't stay on the market that long here in New York, but there are a few. So that's when it's the buyer's opportunity to really grab a short sale that investors thought was just too high.
And in your kind of experience, do you run into people that say, I only want a foreclosure or I only want a short sale, and like that's the only thing that they're going to look at, and their mind is not going to deter to anything else? And how does that work in the buying process compared to someone who's coming in and say, you know what, I don't mind going the traditional way of maybe getting an FHA and a regular, just a regular house that's already on the market, right, kind of thing. Like
they're going to be looking for a very long time.
Okay.
And I could almost bet that they won't buy anything, especially here in New York.
Okay.
I can't really speak for other states. Like I said, you may have a better, opportunity in another state, but here in New York, you'll be looking for a very, very long time, and it will be frustrating. And some of those people I have had, and I kept in contact with them, and they decided that they were going to go to Jersey or go out of state because they just, it's not like the old in the 80s and the 90s where, you could get a foreclosure fairly easly. It's no longer like that. So it's best to either keep your eye, on an REO, find an REO agent, form a relationship with them. And once one hits the market, you'll be in line for it. He'll submit an application for you and start that process. But when you're dealing with the foreclosure and the lender, it's a very long process. Very long.
So this is someone who I think missed the first. They missed the first, second, and third series, and I repeat it every. Hi Chase, how you doing? I repeat it every time we do this show. So his question was, what does your credit have to be for a first-time buyer? And we did this. I remember this was probably the third bullet that you hit on.
Right.
This is the first bullet that you hit on, and just so for him, he maybe he's not going to go back and look at the video, but just give him that information again.
So, what Bonwin stated the last show, he said 620 is the lowest that FHA you can get a good interest rate. Now there are some lenders that can do it at a 580, but again, you're going to get a higher interest rate,
which means your payment is going to be higher monthly. So
exactly. So the higher your credit score is, you have a better ability to purchase a good home and get a good approval rate.
Okay. So one of the other questions, someone here said, ask for links for lenders who doesn't have good credit or doesn't have. Okay. Are there lenders who? Okay. So you have to refresh. You have to clarify that question a little bit more. So somebody asked, what's an REO agent? So I don't know if she just logged in at the last minute. So just explain what REO means again.
It's real estate owned, and that means the lender owns the home. It did not sell in a foreclosure auction, investors or individuals who were at the auction felt the home was too high, and so the bank bought the home, and now they're going to put it on the market.
So the bank is the seller in essence, right?
Yes.
And just to recap a little bit of what you said for her, that the person that just arrived. So the inspection is just you're buying it as is in those situations.
Yes, as you see it. So I always recommend the buyers that I've had that was very lucky to get the opportunity to, get an REO, is that the inspection is for your knowledge. Regardless if someone's going to fix anything or not, you still want to know what you're getting into, because the expense of repairing it, or it may have internal damage that you don't see, that it end up really costing you more money than you wanted to really spend. So the inspection, I would definitely still recommend, but it's not like we're going to put in a repair list. The bank is not going to fix anything.
That's good to know. I mean, and obviously there's things that you wouldn't have to pay for now, like the appraisal, because the bank should generally, you wouldn't have to pay for that, right? Because the bank already kind of knows what. And is there wiggle in? So one of the questions I would have if I was interested in doing that, is there now wiggle room for me to negotiate with the bank? Because now, I mean, if
well, let's say I had
and would that be the real estate agent's job, like
right? So if the bank lists the property at 415, they're going to list it right at the market value, and the bank is in it to make money. Please remember this, guys. So the low ball offer is probably not going to be entertained. You have to understand where you're at in the market. And if you're in a hot market like this, especially like this, even in 2019, the low ball offer is not going to get it. Because someone is going to come in and offer the bank 415. And what they're going to do is they're going to sit on it and see if they're going to get a higher offer. So you can negotiate. Price is always negotiate. It doesn't mean that you're going to actually get it.
All right. So once again, ladies and gentlemen, just to let you guys know, we're here talking with Vanessa Cannon. Vanessa, I need you to give your information again one more time for the people just arriving. If you guys don't understand, she works here in New York. She works in New Jersey. She also works in Atlanta.
I have a license in Atlanta, and then I have connections also in Florida.
So I'm just going to put your information up there so that you can give the information out yourself. I'm like, I feel sometimes I'm just like preaching your praises because she's really that good. So if you are trying to get that home, right? What's the number, Vanessa? What's the number for us to reach you?
My cell phone number, call me directly. It's 347-674-8606. I love the direct calls. You can email me if you just want to shoot me a quick email, but I'll pick up my phone. You don't have to worry about that if you want to just call and ask me that quick question.
And what about if I own a home and I'm it's time for me to retire and I'm ready to just go. I'm ready to sell. I mean, are you a listing? Because I remember you talking about listing agents before as well. Mm-hmm. So do you do that part of it, or you're just on the buying side? Like, do you do that part of it?
I'm on the listing side. I'm on both. So okay. I work all avenues. It really depends on the customer that week. I have people who are ready to sell. I have people who are ready to buy. So I'm here. I can do it all. I have experience in short sales, foreclosures. I do that also.
All right. Someone asked a question here.
Huh?
Someone asked a question here. I don't know if you can see it on your screen. Can you see it?
Can you purchase a short sale home with the FHA loan? Not a short sale home. You can purchase it when it becomes an REO. So a short sale is just, remember, it's a home that the homeowner, the seller, is requesting that the bank take less for what is owed. So that is a process that takes, it could take up to a year or more. And so once it's an approved short sale here in New York, statistically, they have investors, us real estate agents, we have, connections with investors. And so, people are looking to purchase these properties in cash. And so that kind of squeezes the regular end user buyer out, because most definitely the bank would prefer to have an all cash deal. It's a straightforward deal. It's a quick deal, and it's fairly easy. So, but yes, when it goes to an REO, yes, you can purchase with an FHA.
Okay, so one of my banker friends, because he's big in the banking industry, right? He says you can also purchase, and I wish I can bring you on live right now, Quincy, but he says you could also purchase without having credit, but you would need to have your down payment and go through the traditional process. Not all banks offer that process. So I probably have to have Quincy on here one day with Bodwin so they can kind of talk about what that process is like. Somebody also asks, are there lenders, and what are the links for someone who doesn't have good credit and wants to buy a home? So here's what we always, you need to have some kind of credit, right? And if your credit is not good, we're going to have someone here.
Yes. I'm going to bring on my credit repair lady that I use. Her name is Cindy, and she does a very good job. I recommend all my customers to her, and the feedback has been wonderful. So, it's not even an option to no credit, bad credit doesn't fit in the same sentence with I want to buy a home.
Might fit with a car. It might fit with a car with a high interest, but not necessarily
it doesn't work for a home, because trust me, the paperwork that you're going to go through, they want to make sure that you have the ability to pay. And the credit, unfortunately, is a thing that determines whether or not you pay your bills on time, and if you pay back what you borrow, what you owe. So it tells a story. And so if your credit is not in the high six, low to mid high sixes, then I would recommend you working on your credit before you purchase a home.
And once again, as Bodwin said last week, was that last week?
Yes.
I'm like the weeks are like running into each other for me now. Like Bodwin, like he said last week, 2.5% and 2.8% of what the interest rate is for someone out there with pretty good credit right now.
Yeah.
Which maybe 2 years ago it was 4.6% or something like that. It was pretty high about 2 years ago. So when people ask if it's a good time to buy a home, you just have to kind of look at the interest rates, right? So someone asked, one of the questions someone asked, and this is their first, I could tell this is their first time here on here as well, and I wish Bodwin was here today. Someone asked, how much down payments do you need to put down, right?
Well, I would say this. I'm sure that this question is really loaded, and they want more answers, and I would definitely want you to go back to that video. If you could, provide them the link or let them know how to see that second video. We have a lender, Bodwin Tenants with Contour Mortgage. He is breaking that down, and also breaking down one of my homes on the website to show you where your income needs to be and what the payment would be. So I would encourage you to go, because you're going to get a wealth of information in that video.
Right. So that's, and I'm going to give just from the example that I remembered, right? So we were looking at a $467,000 home. I can bring up the home because it's one of the homes that you have featured right now, right?
Right.
And I kind of want to do it. I kind of want to actually show them the home that we were looking at, and in the video we kind of went through.
Notes?
Huh?
Did you take good notes?
I remember, you know what? I remembered because the numbers were like, I was like, wow, are you crazy? Like I didn't believe, I didn't believe the numbers, right? Because it was like, wow, like it's not as unaffordable as a lot of people. Like when people think it buying a home, they think of it's like it's intimidating. And it's kind of scary.
It's a scary process. When I bought my home, the first thing I told the agent, because at the time I wasn't an agent, I said, listen, if I lost my job, I want my mortgage to be affordable. If I have to go work at McDonald's, I can still pay my mortgage. So it is a scary process because it's new. It's the biggest commitment that you'll make in your lifetime. And so it is scary. It has its emotional highs and lows, especially here in New York, because you have to be patient to find that property that you want here. So yeah, it's a scary process. It's a scary process, but it's so rewarding in the end because you're building wealth, you're getting that American dream, you're going to be able to leave a legacy, have somewhere that your children can play, grow, and it's a beautiful thing to come home and say, this is mine.
I can't find my house. It was I remember that I can't find it. But I know I can't find it on your thing, but I'm gonna put another house there. I'm gonna put a different one up there, right? I can't find the house, right? So I'm gonna look for it right now. Give me 1 second. But I'm gonna find another house that's about the same. Can we see this?
Yeah, I can see that. But
Okay.
just quickly, your down payment for the first time home buyers program with FHA is going to be 3.5% of the price. That's your down payment. 4% of the price is going to be your closing costs. I also discussed in detail, very detailed, the very first video, what closing costs, what's in your closing costs, in case you want to know that. So it's always good, depending on the price of the home. I tell people, because you have other things to pay, like the appraisal, you have the attorney fees, and you have inspection, that anywhere from 40 to 80,000 you should have on hand in your bank. The more, the better.
And so for those of you that were listening couple of weeks ago, I remember it was a 479. I remember the numbers because I was like, wow, I like that can't be real, right? So it was 479,000 for the house. It was in Baldwin. It was 16,500 down payment. That was a 3.5%, and the closing was 18,000. I don't forget. I didn't forget it. So for those of you, and that ties into the question that Evelyn asked. She asked, should I borrow from my retirement 401k TDA for a down payment? And
you can borrow because it is considered an investment, so you won't be taxed or penalized. You just have to, whoever manages those funds, you can get all the details in how you could retrieve those funds if you're looking for a home. Some people require that you have a contract already in place, and they want a copy of that, and then they'll release the funds. But a lot of people do it.
Right. And especially if you have a good amount in there, like, I mean, you kind of have to think about realistically, right? If you're working, if you know you're going to work at least another 10 years or 10 to 15 years, why wouldn't you want to take from your 401k or TDA to invest in that home, to as I remember Bottom said, an appreciating asset, right? It's not a car that you drive off the lot and now it's worth less. You're paying into your home. You're
It's and I tell people, if you don't have a retirement, but you have a home here in New York, by the time you get ready to retire, that home will not only sell for a higher appreciated value than what you pay for. You could sell it and go pay cash for a house somewhere else.
Exactly, right? So you'll have a $500,000 house, $600,000 house in New York, and then you'll have a $400,000 house and change left in Georgia or in Florida or somewhere else, right? So absolutely, Evelyn. I mean, if you have the ability to take from your 401k, your 457, your TDA, whatever it is, take from it, especially you're going to be kind of building it back up again, working additional years. You might as well. Someone asked if they can get rid of the PMI with the FHA. The only way.
Well, that has actually changed. It's no longer, principal mortgage insurance. That's what PMI is. And, I recall when I bought my home, I believe it dropped off in about 5 to 5 years. Once I put in 20% in addition to what I had already put down. But now that rule has changed, and I was surprised myself. But yeah, PMI does not drop off anymore. It is pretty much the life of the loan, but you can refinance to get rid of that.
Yep. Absolutely. Absolutely. So for those of you that a lot of the questions that, and I'm glad people are asking the questions again. So a lot of the questions you guys are asking.
That's what we want. People, emailing in these questions so we can answer the questions that you want. We also want to provide you with information, that things that you hadn't even thought about. But I would love for people to send those questions in so we can definitely direct. And I believe you do have a direct call line if someone wants to call in directly and ask a question, right?
Yeah, if you guys wanted to call us, we have a phone number here that you guys can call me, 718-484-8047. If you guys had a question you wanted to ask live. But if you, let's say you're a little too shy, you didn't want to call live, you also wanted to just, send me an inbox, you can always inbox me the question. I'll send it to Vanessa, and she'll be happy to answer. If you guys actually want to call Vanessa, because once again, like she said, it's a very good time to be purchasing a home. Because
it's the holidays, people are relaxing. No, homes are still selling. It's a little slower because people are focused, but people are still buying. I'm still working with individuals that are looking to buy and still obtaining listings. So
just on a personal question, is it selling homes in a pandemic right now, right? I think I kind of asked you this a little bit before. So if someone is not comfortable going, like they're going to sit with you the first time. We talked about the importance of having that consultation the first time.
Right.
So would you actually go out and look at a home and maybe do the Zoom thing or the cell phone, or you still prefer that person kind of be there to look through the home with you?
For the initial meeting, we can have it anywhere you like, face to face, outside in the park, online, via telephone, because that's important. However, no one, when you buy a home, you have to go in and actually feel the energy. You have to look at the neighborhood. Video and pictures can be edited, and something can look so great and wonderful in a photo, and you go out and it looks totally different. I personally would not sell a home to someone who has not been out to see that home, because you don't know the space. You can't determine that space in a photo. I have, as long as I've been in this field, when I take my buyers out, when I take my sellers out, when they sold their home, they always say, this doesn't feel like my home. And when they do find it, they go, I love this. This feels like my home. So if you are not comfortable with coming out, we're wearing masks. You have to sign a COVID declaration. What I do was I set up private showings. If we're going to open homes that are open on the weekends, the agents that are conducting those homes are only letting, 2 couples in at a time. Some people will let 4, meaning one will go down to the basement, first floor, and then one couple will go to the second floor, and then you'll exit out of the side or back door where you can see the yard. So there's not a lot of contact. So we really take COVID rules seriously in this field, and so we're making sure that we're not spreading it by continuing to do what we do in this industry.
All right, so what we're going to take a little short break before we wrap up. I just want to say hi to my good friend, and I think she's in Georgia, Mauricia Pascal. She has her she has a line called Pascal Posh, and she was like, can you please play my video for me? So we're going to take a little 20-second break. I want to play her video because Mauricia's going to kill me if I don't play it. So hold on 1 sec.
Pascal Posh. Department store beautiful for less. Be bold. Be beautiful. Visit PascalPosh.com. Pascal, Posh.
Love it. I love
So
it.
you guys make sure you check her out. She has those natural beauty products. So make sure you check her out. Support. So I got to stop saying support Black business. Buy Black business, because we always say support Black business. Why is it when you're buying Black, people say support, right? We should just buy Black. It shouldn't be support Black business. It's just buy Black, right? So support, buy, do whatever you do. Go to PascalPosh.com and make sure you support our very own Vanessa Cannon. She is the person you're going to need to get in touch with if you are trying to buy a home. I know you also do, like, you also help people looking for apartments and stuff like that as well. So don't think that she's just in the realm of purchasing homes, but we want people to elevate for 2021.
So apartments, I definitely help with apartments, and the process is basically, I want to know, what area you want to be in, what you want to pay. And I'll ask you these questions immediately because, I definitely want to hear whether or not you have a realistic picture on how much rent is. Rent is very high here in New York. So I want to always explore the possibility of you buying, because some people never really thought about it, or, it was just never on their radar. And, I've had one or two people in my years come to me who wanted to rent. And I said, well, why are you renting? You're willing to pay this much. Let's see if we can, get you a house.
And what about the person who's nervous about that? Right. We're looking.
Oh, because here in New York, if you want a nice, good apartment, you're going to probably pay about $2,000 and above, basically. And, I'm looking at, well, can we do a co-op? Can we do a condo? Because you still get a tax write-off. You may not want the big house and the responsibility, because it is a lot of responsibility with the home. If you're a single guy or a single, lady, and you want to kind of still, you're moving and shaking a little bit, hanging out, partying.
Moving and shaking. You heard that? You're moving and shaking. You're moving and shaking a little bit. So you don't want to be taking out garbage. You don't want to, you don't want to be,
right. Yeah, you don't want to be, worried about gas, water, just stuff that, roof and all that extra stuff. So I always explore that possibility, because from there, it'll say if you get a co-op, and if it is permittable in the bylaws, that could be your first rental as you move on and grow, and you're ready to buy a house, and it's like your introductory course into home ownership. You have now a rental. If not, you can sell it and still have those funds to put towards a house. So anytime that you can purchase, you're throwing money away when you're renting. I mean, it's just like you might as well just throw it out on the street. I mean, it is your living expenses, your essentials, and the roof. You're keeping that roof over your head. However, if you can buy, if you have the ability to buy, you're just throwing rent away. You're just giving away. You're making your landlord rich. And the goal for you is you want to get that write-off and put money back in your pocket. It's called building wealth.
So today's hot tip. So one of the last things I want to leave people with, this 30 talk that's an hour long. One of the last tips I want to leave people with, right? I want a little insider information from you, right? Okay. So I have my $30,000 down payment. I have my $40,000 my $30,000 down payment that I took from my, TDA or whatever the case is. I'm gonna have my closing costs, right? I'm looking for a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom. I need a little lawn, a nice little lawn in the front. What would you recommend? Like, where are the hot places right now? Where would you recommend? This is just an insider information for those people that are on here right now, that's on 30 Talk right now, that are looking and they're going to reach out to you. If they were reaching out to you right now, Vanessa, and you're talking to them about their 3 bedrooms, 2 baths, they want those 2 bathrooms. They want a nice little lawn. They want, maybe a little gate, a little fencing area.
Right.
what would be the areas that you would recommend for them right now? And they don't want to go over 550. I see. I made it. I made it tough to. You see, I made it tough towards the end right there. They didn't want to go. They don't really want to go over like 550ish, right? Like,
and that's a fair price at the end of the day.
Somebody said, forget New York. Mike said, well, of course, Mike would say that. He said, forget New York. It's overpriced.
Listen,
but they live in New York, Mike. They work in New York, so we have to look at New York, Mike.
Yeah, you have to remember, here in New York, we don't have land. So what they're taking these properties and renovating them. So that's why New York properties appreciate so quickly, because there's really no competition in terms of building new construction. There's no availability for that really here in New York. So that's why we get a high appreciation value. But I would say 550 is a good pre-approval, and I would probably more than likely take you to Long Island, and we look at some homes that's around 485, 470.
We could look at something like this, right? Because this is Baldwin. If you're seeing this one.
If that's what they're interested in. Some people are not interested in going to Long Island, and they want Queens. And I let people know immediately, in Queens at a 550, you are definitely going to have to redo the kitchen and bathrooms. You're going to have to do some renovation work, if not almost a full gut. It has gotten that high in Queens. So for detached. In some cases, people are not looking to buy attached homes and semi-attached, and I'm not really sure why, because attached homes have really if you have a king size bed, like some of these people in Brooklyn, they have these apartments with these huge rooms. The attached properties are so big, the basements are so big. I actually converted a woman, actually two people, who wanted a detached, and I threw in a attached because I knew it met all the things that they wanted in the home, and they ended up buying it. It was like I had no idea. So be open to those homes also too, because they are a little lower in price, just slightly. I won't say extremely, are slightly lower in price. So those are available right now in the market. It seems to be a lot of attached and semi-attached. The renovated homes are in Queens right now. If you want a fully renovated, detached, beautiful home in Queens, you're gonna need about 624 and above.
Okay. So you guys are hearing it here. This is the information that, if you're looking, have that mindset that this is about the realm that I'm gonna be looking at. And once again, for those of you that didn't see any of the last 3 videos that we did, any of the 3 basically, I can't really call them video, but the informational sessions, right? That we kind of gave out to people, the last 3 shows that we talked about home ownership. And I hope to have the next person, your credit person here, the next time, so we can definitely talk about getting people's credit together, right? Because I know we like loopholes. We like to try to get around what's currently there, but sometimes there's no, if you're going to look to pay a amount that you can afford to pay, that you can work on paying, you kind of need to have that piece, that credit piece together, in addition to your down payment and your closing. So that's going to be a piece that we touch on. Thank everybody. Thank you guys so much for all your questions. Thank you, Maricia, for the video. I played your video. Thank you, Vanessa. If you guys did not go to the website yet, the website is
www.vcsaleshomes.com. You can check out all my listings there. You can also contact me at 347-674-8606.
Give that number one more time.
347-674-8606.
All right. So once again, if I don't hear from you guys again until next week, have a great Thanksgiving. If you guys have,
yes,
If you
Enjoy
guys
it.
have or Indigenous Peoples Day, if you guys celebrate that, right? But Vanessa Cannon, 347-674-8606. And you guys can always send me a question that you guys have for her. If you guys want me to give you her information, I can always forward you guys that. If you want to sell your home, she's available. If you want to buy a home, she's available. If you want to get your mortgage done, we have Bodwin available. And that's it. So look out in December. I also have a show coming up in December about women's health. Well, health and wellness, not just women's health. Health and wellness. So we're going to talk about exercise. We're going to talk about dieting. So we're going to talk about, just how to get ourselves right physically and mentally, just for life, right? So it's we're going to have a nutritionist here. And I know, Vanessa, I don't want to touch it. I know you're a vegan. I know you post a lot of those great vegan dishes and stuff like that. So maybe we'll have you come and chip in about, some of those things, because I see you post a lot of nice pictures about the meals that you eat and stuff like that, right? So, we're going to talk about health and wellness mid-December, and there's some events coming up in January just so we can be physically and spiritually well, right? So look out for that coming up on 30 Talk. Anything else you want to leave them with before we close?
No, we're going to have as many people on. We're going to start bringing on some other realtors to talk about their services and what they do. So you can just hear other people, and how they work, so that you will get a clear understanding of this, real estate industry here and how we do business. So we're just looking to, give you as much information as possible so that you can make the right choices.
Folks, we want you to be homeowners. That's homeowners. We want you to be homeowners. No more renting. 2021, we're saying it, no more renting, right? So thank you guys. See you next time.
Bye.